Stand-up comedy is a descendant of one of the oldest art forms in the world, storytelling. In the old days, we'd all gather around a campfire and someone would stand up and tell us a story. The difference now is we're not around the campfire anymore, and we try and make it funny. And the open mic scene is the grassroots level of stand-up comedy, because everyone's got to start somewhere, right? So I thought I'd do a documentary on open mic comedy, and what better place to look at than Manchester, a place where so many brilliant comics have come through the years. Local legends like Jason Manford and Peter Kay, even comics from slightly further afield like John Bishop, all got their start right here in Manchester. So this week, I'm going to take my camera out with me to every open mic gig Manchester has to offer, so you can get a true reflection of what the Manchester comedy open mic scene is like in 2022. And we're starting here Monday night at Fierce Beer in the Northern Quarter for Comedy Vault.
My name's Phil Sutton. I run Comedy Vault at Fierce Bar with Jake Breeze. We're here on Monday now. It's the open mic. The place where I've really learned everything I know now is on the open mic scene. What I'm doing is I'm stood outside barking him in as well. I'm trying to get him in.
My name is Mark Hughes.
My name is Valdis Karosas.
I am originally from Vancouver in Canada.
I am from Lithuania.
I have been doing comedy for coming up on 10 years.
I've been doing stand-up comedy for 3 years and a bit.
The comedy industry or community or scene or whatever you want to call it is better here than it is in Canada.
I wanted to move to the UK to do comedy.
I would say that the open mic scene in Manchester is superior in quality to Canada, inferior in quantity. My biggest criticism for Manchester is that there's not enough stage time here.
The show up, go up open mics. So that is what I value about Manchester, but that is basically all we have. And that is good and bad thing in the same time. Good thing, new stuff. Bad thing, you can't develop the old stuff.
Who did I drag in then? Give me a cheer. Woo! Yeah! You regret it? Are you happy? You lot are way ahead of me.
Yes, Comedy Vault. How are we doing? We good? Yeah. Right, is that what we're all laughing at? Is my belly hanging out? The face is off here.
I've been running Comedy Vaults for 2 years now. Tonight, I've heard from Sam the barman and manager and good friend of mine that it's one of the busiest nights so far. That's pretty good, isn't it?
It is pretty good.
What do you think of that, man?
My name's Sam, I'm the assistant manager of Fierce Bar Manchester. The comedy night is one of our busiest nights. It's on a Monday, but you wouldn't recognise it from the amount of people that turn up. It's my favourite shift to work, get to see some good comedy. It doesn't feel like work, to be honest. It's brilliant.
First up on Tuesday was supposed to be Worst Comedy Night upstairs at the Britain's Protection, but they're taking a couple of weeks off, so unfortunately we couldn't go there. But not to worry, because we have got Comics Anonymous at the Zombie Shack above the Thirsty Scholar.
My name's Tuesday Tony. I've been the promoter here at the Thirsty Scholar for the last 21 years. It's had a few different names over the years. At the moment, where Comics Anonymous presents Zomcom. Why I do this is because I've been running the music night in the Thirsty Scholar for a long time. And one week, no one showed up to play. Like, everyone cancelled on me. So I got in touch with a young comedian who'd come to play me at the Tiger Lounge before. And I said, come down, you can have as much time as you want, bring a few friends. He brought 12 people down from the comedy course at Salford Uni. One of them happened to be Jamali Maddox as well. Those guys went on stage, young, vibrant comedians, absolutely wowed the audience. Everyone gets a flat 5 minutes. It's a show up and go up night. Come down, sign up at 7:30, put your name on the list, pretty much go on in the order that you arrive, first come, first serve, and then we just go through. We tend to have a couple of breaks in there if we have quite a lot of people on. And in between, we have music on downstairs in the Thirsty Scholar as well. One thing I like to do is give the opportunity, not just to perform, but to MC as well. So, like, for example, for the last 8 weeks, we've had a different host every single week.
My name's Kieran Mullins.
My name is Mishak Brencher, and tonight is the first time I'm trying stand-up comedy.
Doing comedy for 4 years.
I searched online just to see if there's any open mics events taking place, in the area tonight. And I happened to find there was one happening here at the Thirsty Scholar.
The one thing the open mic scene, it's very varied. Like the one last night, the vault was like banging, but like this one's going to be like, a lot more low key. I can't realise how big it is sometimes. You probably see a lot of the people more than you do like your own family.
A few years I've been wanting to start comedy. Like in the past, I've done poetry. I really enjoyed it. There's various different venues I've performed at. I've never really found my true voice doing poetry as much as I enjoyed doing it.
Comics Anonymous tends to be only comedians. So I've got like gags I want to try out tonight and I'm already thinking I'm going to kind of get no value. It's always good to get stage time, but when it's all comedians, sometimes it's not a fair reflection of whether a joke's not going to work in a paid gig in like Billingham.
Anonymous presents SongCon. Please put your hands together for the wonderful Terence!
My name is Jacob Harmon. I am occasional MC and many times open micer. What is the name of this night? It's at Thirsty Scholar, Zomcom sometimes. Is it Comics Anonymous or Zomcom?
Comics Anonymous.
Comics Anonymous, that's what it is.
Just been on stage just now, the first ever like comedy open mic. The experience was like I said, I've definitely got to do it again. It's harder than what it actually appears.
There were like 15 or 16 acts and it was quiet. It was mostly comedians, as sometimes happens. We had a rotating cast of audience members. I think there were 3 people for a bit, and then there were 2 people, and there was Emma and Reese. And Emma and Reese stayed for the whole thing, and more power to them, because sometimes it gets quiet and slow. And if there's not a bumping room, it kind of, it's what happens sometimes.
My name is Justina Sesolskaite.
My name is Simon Lomas, and I've been doing stand-up for 6.5 years.
My name is Levi, and I've been doing stand-up for 7 months.
Yeah, my name is Lawrence, and I've been doing stand-up comedy. Although I'm not very old, I'm 63, I took it up on my 60th birthday.
I've been doing comedy for about 8 months or so now, so not too long, but again, love it, do it as much as physically possible while doing a full-time job, so it's not easy, but it's worth it.
I'm Jordan Ducharme. I started this night here at Stage and Radio. It's Stage Time Comedy, and it's a show up and go up style open mic where anyone who shows up to sign up can do 5 minutes of material.
It's one of the best ones there is, because you don't have to apply for a spot, you can just rock up, you can try out stuff you've written that day if you want.
The audience tends to give the comedians attention, even though the audience will be mainly comedians, which can be tricky. I find that here, I just feel as though the comedians are actually giving the comedian a bit more attention than some of the nights that are similar.
I've done my 2nd gig, 5th gig, 10th gig here. I always come here if I'm free on a Wednesday night.
And it's easy to do this gig and then go off and do another gig because it starts so early.
Comedy, like anything, it requires work for you to be good at, like going to the gym every day. And if you can only go to the gym once a month to do a really hard workout of, let's say, 10 minutes, you're not going to grow at all. I came up in Vancouver doing like 5 to 6 of these every single week. And you just see the improvement. The more you do it, the more you immerse yourself in it, the better you get. Not only that, like comics learn to talk to each other, they learn to be around each other, they get to know people, they find like-minded individuals.
Open mic scene is really friendly.
It's a nice little community.
I think Manchester's open mic scene is phenomenal so far that I've been around. It's full, it's vibrant, it's constantly happening. You meet the best people.
The cons of this kind of night is it can be not funny, it can be brutal. It lasts way too long.
There's a lot of acts in it. Sometimes you're waiting sort of all night to get on.
I think it's so chaotic and you never know what's going to happen, and I love that.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's very busy, sometimes it's quiet, but it's a good thing that you got the opportunities to try new stuff.
You can't fake comedy. You sort of got to keep doing it until you're better at it.
It's very easy to get stage time.
In terms of the Manchester open mic scene, I think it's great. I think there's lots of shows to do of all different levels.
You can do multiple gigs a day.
You get to actually practice your new stuff, redo your old stuff, and just prepare, and you always have a gig that week.
I think there's a lot of new acts that might not be ready for that next level of show, but they come out and watch the show all the same. It's because they're interested in comedy. All they're thinking about is comedy. I think you need a bunch of people like that in a city for a scene to be good, and I think Manchester's got like a really good one going. So shows like this have inspired ones like Comedy Vault on Monday, which I know you were at, and like I said, Tuesday Tony was already here, but now he's got an even better one going at Zombie Shack. Shows like that are the lifeblood of a comedy scene.
It gives you the chance to cut your teeth as a comic when you're brand new, because there's not a lot of sort of paid gig opportunities for people who are brand new. It gives established acts the chance to try out new material that you might not want to try at a sort of paid gig. So it's useful for sort of every level of act.
I think there's nights you could do pretty much every night of the week, so it's very healthy.
Oh, hey there, everybody. How are we? Once again, Stage Jam Radio.
My name is Paul Campbell, and I've started doing the first gig was in November 2017. I like the sign up on the night stuff just because there's just no pressure whatsoever, and you can just try stuff and be like really creative. And a lot of them are getting really good audiences at the moment, and they're like some of my favourite nights just because of that. Trying stuff and not worrying too much about whether it's gonna go well or not, you know. And I think that's cool. And it's, for me anyway, it helps me like add to my actual set. You know, I like the freedom of it. If you book like, even if it's just a bucket split night, like if it's booked like 2 months ahead or whatever, you kind of think, oh, I've got to do well on that. And you know, whoever books is going to be a little bit disappointed. Jordan's like a romanticist. If I recall, like he did loads of those kind of open mics in Canada, and I feel like he's got this really romantic idea of an open mic where like 40 people go on and it goes from 7 o'clock to 2 in the morning, and like everyone's there and drunk and like just like barely conscious, and I feel like I love that vibe to it, and I think it works really well. Kind of chaotic, but I think it's a really interesting. It's different to a lot of the other open mic nights. The Comedy Balloon is Manchester's longest running open mic night, but I absolutely love it. It's where I did my first gig, and it's such a welcoming atmosphere. Sometimes it's quite an exciting, risky gig, which is why it's good to talk about it whilst crossing the road. So well organised and controlled, and I feel like there's so much freedom going there, and it's very different each week, because some weeks you can have like 50 people in the audience, and other weeks it can just be like 2 or 3 and a lot of comedians, but you kind of experience very different, like not one night's the same, and it's such a good night, and it's so brilliantly run by Jason. He's very passionate about that.
My name's Jason, entertainment cook, and I run the Comedy Balloon, which has been going for 22 years.
My name's Andy Roach, and I've been doing comedy for about 6 or so months. And the Comedy Balloon's one of these nights that you kind of hear whispers about, rumours about how long it's been going, and all the different acts that started out in Comedy Balloon. So yeah, found my way onto doing a 5-minute spot, and I literally just came off stage after doing a little bit of an emceeing job tonight.
It was born out of necessity, really. The only other open mic nights in Manchester were at the Frog and Bucket, and I think that was about it. We've proved after 22 years that we're not in it for ourselves, you know, we're in it for the acts, for the audience. I think that longevity counts for something. There are other nights also running on the same night as ours. So the idea that you would get a whole line-up that turn up at the start of the night and stay right to the end, those days are pretty much gone. People run in, do their 10 minutes and off somewhere else, which is absolutely fine. There's literally nobody in the pub downstairs, but we've got a room full of happy punters up there, which is great.
I absolutely love it, and I think you can really use that time on stage to get that new stuff out, those ideas that you've maybe had on the day. You can get those ideas out, say them out loud. Sometimes you regret it, but that's open mic comedy for you, and sometimes it gives you the confidence to go on and build on that stuff and make it a bit more of a into your set.
We've always been open mic, but just doing that 5-minute spots is because 6 years ago there was an 8-month waiting list to come and do the Comedy Balloon. All the spots were 10 minutes. So cutting them down to 5 minutes kind of reflects what the acts needs, but it also means that there's a lot more flexibility for us. So we now tend to only be booked up about 2 months in advance. Because if you book someone in January, and then they, sometimes used to forget in August because it's a long time. So I think there's a lot more freedom and flexibility now for acts to come and play at the Comedy Balloon, because that just reflects the way that the modern comedians start now. You get on TikTok, you've got 60 seconds. you don't always want 10 minutes, you just want 5 minutes to get up there and, you know, try a few new gags.
I enjoyed tonight, it was really good. You know, sometimes with the open mic scene it can be up and down in terms of the audience and how many are in and how engaged they are, but tonight it was really good, so I put that all down to the MC's work, obviously.
We've had people that have only done 1 or 2 gigs get up, absolutely storm it. We've had people who've been going 20 years, bit of new material, which is fantastic. I think one of the great things about the Balloon is we've always had that mix of established and new acts.
My name is Alex Camp, and I've been doing comedy for 6 years now.
My name is Benny Finkelstein. I moved from Israel to England, and I'm doing comedy for like 1.5 years.
My name's Ian. This is a little go up and show up open mic.
This night is Defo Comedy Jam. I think that's the name we've settled on. And we started it 5 weeks ago, and I'm running it, co-running it with Ian Lappin.
We decided that there's nothing going on Thursday in Manchester, so we wanted to put something on. We wanted to do it somewhere a bit different rather than town, so this is well arranged.
We love a show up and go up open mic. We want there to be more of them in Manchester. We thought we'd got to start another one, and Thursday night wasn't really served at all, so we thought Thursday, let's get it on. And also in Chorlton, which is a little bit outside the town, so it's a bit different.
I started comedy in Manchester actually because I used to work in the office, and a lot of people told me that I'm like an eccentric guy and very different, and they told me I should try to do stand-up comedy, and I'm wasted in an office job. And then I just tried to go to open mics. Like I was looking online and I saw that Manchester is pretty good with the open mic scene. There were a lot of open mics available. I tried to go for my first gig. It was a little traumatic because there's a huge cultural difference between Israel and England. So it took me a long time to understand what jokes you can do here and what not, and the limits of the humor here and the political correctness. But it got better and better.
I started the year before lockdown. Wasn't gigging much then, so I tell people I've been doing it for a year, negating COVID time. What made me want to get into it was, it's so cliche, but I went through an awful breakup and I started writing things about it, and they sounded like jokes. I sort of went to a friend of mine that's sort of quite heavily involved in comedy. He said, yeah, get up and go try it. So I did my first gig at Wormhole at Holdfast, which sadly departed, and fucking was absolutely buzzing about it.
Best crowd member in Manchester.
Please welcome to the stage our host for tonight,
Hello, welcome to Defo Comedy Jam number 5.
But you're an Arab lecturer. You teach Arabic. Where are you from? Palestine. I hope I can see the sun tomorrow. Where are you from? Where did you live? Like you live in Palestine? Or? Which Jenin? Where? You're from East Jerusalem, and you live now in England, or?
Yeah, here and there.
Oh, you go back and forth. All right. So wait, you have like go out, everyone. No, so what? You have like an Israeli citizenship, or you have like a blue to that suit? You know what I mean? Like,
I have an idea.
You have an idea, or all right. Good stuff. Listen, I'm not really Israeli, you know. It's a joke. I'm actually yeah, I'm a Palestinian. Marhaba, salam alaikum. No, you know, I learned Arabic. I speak a little Arabic. I learned it in school and shit. Yeah. But no, there's a lot of Muslims here. You are also Muslim? Alright. There's a lot of Muslims here. I think maybe because it's Ramadan, you all came to an open mic to lose your appetite for a month. Great good thinking, you know.
My name is Abdi, and this is the first attempt I've had at comedy. This is one of my locals, and I've just showed up. The book was on the table, and Caroline said, "There's a comedy night on." and I thought, why not sign up for it? It was a lot of fun. At the same time, I felt like I was reading too much of my own booklet.
End of the night here at Defo Comedy Jam in Bradley Range at Jam Street. We had a nice little evening. There was 2 audience members and 9 acts, I think, 10 acts. 10 acts, we had 2 sections, and it was a lovely little time. It was open mic comedy. We had some good acts, we had some great acts, we had some new acts that actually did quite well, and we had Benny Finkelstein, who he did what he does, and it was a fun time, and I enjoyed it. It was first time emceeing as well, and I enjoyed it, and yeah,